Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Faithwalk 101. We are so glad that you could join us. And in this lesson, we're talking about the mind games that the enemy plays to try to destroy and hurt you. And we got to remember this one thing. The enemy is going to use people to work through. And many times, it's going to be people you know and people that you love. But we must be wise as we walk in this world, my friends, with godly wisdom, not worldly wisdom, godly wisdom. There is a spiritual war that is taking place, and it won't go away because you decide that you are going to ignore it. The enemy wants to destroy you. And how does he do it? He's got to get in your head to control your actions. And sadly, Satan is already working in the minds of many people. And sadly enough, many of those people are people that we know and people that we love, and it could be people that we live with. They're very close to us. So in these next few lessons, we're going to be talking about toxic relationships that many people find themselves in and how Satan will use them to try to get into their head. First thing, it's all about feelings, my friends. And some people are so obsessed with feelings. Why? Because they ignore the facts. And this is what they're going to do to get in your head. They're going to always ignore the facts. And they're always going to go straight to feelings. Afraid that they might be hurt, their speech, it never has any tact. It's destructive with the sincerity. That's what they lack. You see, toxic relationships will always stab you in the back. They want to use your loyalty. And this is the thing why the enemy brings people that are close to us. He wants to use them because those people are going to take your loyalty and they want to misuse it. They want to misuse it while they give very little in the relationship. Because remember, it's all about feelings to them. But in this lesson, we're going to talk about how we can guard against it. And one of the things that we need to we have to stay with, because the enemy is always going to be obsessed with feelings. And believers, we want to look at the facts and the doctrine and what the Word of God says. And so please don't ignore what people are trying to do. It's the enemy that's behind it, but it's manipulation, my friends. That's what's brewing. And it's lies that they're chewing on. That's right. They want you to bite and lose rational sight. But remember what Paul says in Romans 12, verse 1 and 2. Present your bodies a living sacrifice. This is your reasonable service. Don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so, my friends, we've got to embrace the Word of God. They want to ignore God's true light. And the truth, my friends, is so powerful. It's powerful, more powerful than those who are living in darkness and not living in the light. So feelings. They're obsessed with feelings. And you see, once they've hooked your feelings, because this is what this is all about. It's all about getting in your head to control you, to use you, to destroy you, my friends. But God said, Jesus came that we may have life. So once they have hooked you on your feelings, they want to twist the situation. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to twist it to try to control you by making you look like they are the victim. Like you've done something to them. You've hurt their feelings. You've misused them. They're going to twist it, my friends. But the only way they can do it is they have to draw you in with feelings. But we are walking by truth and by the facts of the Word of God. And that's what we've got to stay with, the facts. But they want to control you by feelings. And in the end, they twist it. And they want to appear to be the victim. But in reality, they are the mental aggressor, because the enemy is using them to get to you, my friends. This is the strategy that is consistent. Shift blame. That's right. It's all your fault. You did it. Why'd you do this to me? You're making me do this. See what you did? But they have to hook your feelings. And this is going to be consistent with the game that the enemy plays. Remember, Satan is the accuser day and night. That's what he does. We find it in the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 10 through 12. Obsessed with feelings. But I want you to hear what Paul has to say as I end this lesson, because this is so important when it comes to overcoming these feelings that the enemy is going to work through other people to try to use you, to destroy you, to hurt you, because the person is never going to deal with facts. It's always going to be about feelings. But in 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 16, here's what Paul writes: watch your life. So my friends, we've got to, Solomon says to guard your heart. Watch your life. We've got to watch our life very carefully. And we're going to walk circumspectly. We're going to be wise in our walk according to godly wisdom. He said, watch your life and doctrine. What's the doctrine? It's the things that we've been taught. It's the things that we believe. It's the things that we hold to. It's the things that's in the Word of God. He says, hold to it, my friends. Watch it. Be careful. Hold it closely. He said, preserve it in them, because when you do this, when you watch it closely, when you preserve in it, what you're going to do, not only do you save yourself, you keep yourself from falling in this trap, but you know what? You're going to be able to influence those who hear the Word of God. In other words, he says to preserve yourself. Be persistent in this, my friends. Continue in it. Stay with doctrine. Don't let your feelings run away with you. But that's what the enemy is going to use. He's going to use it every time. He's going to use feelings, and he's obsessed with it. He's going to ignore the facts. And that's what some people do. Have you ever tried to talk to someone and every time they start the sentence with, well, I feel like. Well, what is the truth, my friends? You might feel like you need to be a millionaire and living in a mansion. Well, what's the facts? If you don't have a job, then that's going to be very hard to do. People want to ignore the facts, and they're obsessed with feelings. And in the end, they twist it around to make them the victim. See, you don't care about me. You don't love me. But Paul says, well, you got to watch your life. You got to guard your life. That's what Solomon says, guard your heart. And then Paul also writes in Ephesians 6:12, put on the whole armor, my friends. Doctrine, what you've learned. He says, guard it, trust it, because it is the Word of God. Don't stray from it. Don't let your feelings remove you from what the truth is saying. And this is what the enemy wants to do. And he's going to work through people who are constantly obsessed with their feelings. It's always, I feel this. I feel. Feelings are so fickle. He says, watch it, your life and doctrine, hold it closely, preserve it, persist in it, my friends, continue in it, stay with it, my friends. Continue to join us on Faithwalk 101 as we're going to talk more about the enemy, how he wants to get in your head to control you. We're talking about the games that they're going to play to hook you. And you might find that you've been hooked. Our children do it, don't they? You don't care about me. You don't love me. If you did, you'd give me the world. You would jump off the end of the world for me. You would do this. You would break the law. You would hurt other people. But if you, just because you won't do this, you don't love me. My friends, don't be drawn into these feelings. And that's what the enemy wants to do, because he knows if he hooks your feelings, facts, truth, the gospel, the doctrine, it just falls by the wayside. And that's what the enemy wants to do. That's how he hooks us. Continue to join us on Faithwalk 101. We're going to talk more about how the enemy wants to mess with your head, because that's where the battle's at, inside your mind. Thank you.